Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Welcome this evening to PyLadies Dublin, and thank you everyone for joining us. And sorry, we're a little bit delayed starting off. So what I'll do is, as per usual, I will start off with announcements. So give me a second, and I'll switch it over. Um, so first of all, I'd like to uh, say thanks to the rest of the PyLadies team. We have Lay, who and Michael. You can see all our Twitter handles there. Lay and Mick will be on. Will be monitoring the YouTube chat as well, live chat. So say hello, have a chat, introduce yourselves, where you're from, and are you using Python, and why you're here, and then we'll also be doing a live raffle after the talks. So let me get through the announcements first. And again, let's see. Yes, some upcoming announcements or upcoming diversity events that are happening in around Ireland. So we have with Ireland coffee meetup in person in Cork. Also down in Cork, Girl Develop It as well for Code and Coffee this month. And up in Brew and Bites Online is actually up in Belfast, and I think that's an online one. Next one, yes, we the Her Plus Data. It's their very first event since COVID restrictions. So it's great to see them back. So it's Meet Amazing Women in Data at the end of this month. And then we have the Women Tech Makers Conference up in Belfast, and that's an in-person one. And so don't worry, all these details I will share these slides later on to everyone. So don't worry about taking down the links. And yeah, they're linked off my curated list as well of diversity events around Ireland. Some Python related events. We have Data Cloud and AI in Dublin this month as well as Pi Belfast. I think it's their first meetup as well in quite a while. And Python Ireland, who have their meetups on the third Wednesday of each month. So you can find information about all these meetup and in meetup.com. So a few quick words about EuroPython. For those who don't know, EuroPython is coming to Ireland on the 11th to 17th of July. They're one of the oldest and longest running Python conference in Europe. And it's all run by volunteers. This year, they were meant to be here in 2020, but because of COVID, it got pushed to this year. I'm also on the volunteering team, so if anyone have questions, you can actually ask me as well. So it is hosted in the convention center here in Dublin, and it's a week-long event. And Monday to Tuesday is tutorials and workshops. Wednesday to Fridays where the core of the conference happens with keynotes and talks and lightning talks and so on. And then Saturday and Sunday is where people work on their open source projects, and it's called sprints. So the some other events are happening by EuroPython. So there's during tutorial and workshop day, which is Monday and Tuesday. There's Beginners Day. I'm also running a Django Girls workshop. There's going to be an electronic workshop called Pew Pew, and it's going to be if you're interested in CircuitPython. So this is so I have a little wee Pew Pew here myself. People want to have a look. So that one will be slightly different. The one that's going to be used for EuroPython, I think they're going to bring along Pew Pew boards from Basel and Swiss when they held it in Basel in 2019. And there's a transcode workshop as well. During the so those will be held during Monday and Tuesday, and the dates will be confirmed. Makerfest will be held on the days Wednesday to Friday, and there's going to be local makers and maker spaces showcasing and demoing their projects. as well as going to be general makers table, and then there's going to be activities for under 18s from Coded Dojo, Northern Ireland Raspberry Pi Jam, and folks from Microbit will be there as well. We're also invited we also invited Irish and Northern Irish tech communities to come along to EuroPython, some of the organizers, and we're going to have mixers, so a social event for all the communities to meet each other as well at EuroPython. So there's going to be more events. So it's going to be announced in the very soon, in the very near future. So how can you help? You can help by volunteering with EuroPython. There are various different work groups. You can be a coach or mentor facilitator for workshops. Tell your friends about us to join and come on join you at EuroPython. Propose your own projects to hack on during the sprints. That is a Saturday and Sunday. And of course, help us spread the word on social media. The current call to actions are the early bird tickets are still available, so check that out. Registrations are open for Django Girls Workshop, so if you're interested, you can sign up now. We are looking for more makers to come along and demo their projects, especially if your projects uses Python, like MicroPython or CircuitPython. We're looking for coaches for transcode workshops, the Django Girl workshops, and also help mentor our first-time speakers. And if your company is interested in sponsorship as well, we'd love to have you on board. And if there's any questions, you want to collaborate and sponsor and so on, for volunteering, the email is volunteers@europython.eu. For sponsorship, sponsoring at europython.eu. And they have a website, europython.eu, for you can check out their FAQ, which shows you all the different milestones and answer a lot of the questions you might have about EuroPython. We're on Twitter as well at EuroPython, and there's a blog which is also acts as a monthly acts as a newsletter. So every month they release a newsletter of reminders and events that are coming up and all the call to actions. So that is EuroPython. So any questions you can also ask me as well. So next month, we haven't decided on a date yet, but we are partnered with Women in AI Ireland with their WAI practice mentoring program. And we hope to have it as an in-person event, but watch this space. I'll be creating the event on meetup.com, and I'll send updates to PyLadies Dublin as well. So so yes, it's not. So the meetup page will be coming soon. So this page is just reminding people to remember there's a subscribe button is not there, but it's just missing. But do like and subscribe, like most of the YouTubers would say, and on our YouTube channel. And yes, here's the rundown of our agenda. So for the moment, we have a little bit of a change. We're gonna have Ciara speaking first, who will talk about Crack the Code, my first Python project. So I want to, I'll be putting Ciara on now, and so give me a sec, and I'll get it ready. Hold on a minute. Oh. Okay. Thanks, Ciara. You're on that.
Oh, great. Am I on? Can you hear me okay? Hi, everyone, and thanks to Vicky for having me. And this is all really new to me, but I just completed my first project in Python, and Vicky's asked me to come on and share with you just the journey of learning Python and my first ever project. And thanks everyone for listening. So my project is called Mastermind Crack the Code, and I've just put my GitHub link down there down the bottom in case anyone wants to check out the full code. So I'll just be talking a little bit about how it's my experience for this. We'll have a little run through video demo of the game. I'll talk to you a little bit about my thinking behind the design, so sort of the logical side, and then sort of to make it look all fancy and the aesthetic side, and then any kind of interesting sort of bugs and different bits of Python code that I figured out as well to get this all deployed and turn it into a real working Python game. So I don't know if anyone is familiar with the board game Mastermind. I don't know if it's going to bring back any memories, that image. It was a game that I played as a kid. And so the idea behind the game is that if you're the coder, you have to pick 4 colors. They're hidden behind the little shield, and you put them in a certain order. And then the other player has to try and guess the order of the colors. And the only hints you can give them is if they have a color, the right color in the right place, or the right color in the wrong place. And you can indicate that by putting little colored pegs beside it. And you get about 10 goes, and it's really good fun. And then I thought this would be a really interesting game to try and figure out the code to. So the project brief was to create a command line interface game using Python, and then to deploy it up to Heroku. So yeah, a command line interface game. I had a good bit of thinking behind, how am I going to make this visually appealing to people? How am I going to structure it so that, it's sort of clear and easy to follow, and sort of get a nice logical flow to the game. And I thought it'd be really important to give clear instructions and really good feedback to the users as well, or the players as they played along. And I thought, my use of spaces and colors and text art and things like that would really make this game work. So I decided I'll give it a go. So here's just a little run through. I've left the actual live link if you want to go play the game later. So here's a little run through. So when you first come onto the link, you can run the program, and it comes up the terminal screen, Mastermind Crack the Code, and it asks you then to sort of enter in your name. And I'm kind of going to accept anything here in case people want to use nicknames or whatever. It doesn't accept empty spaces. And print the name back kind of in a nice green color to let you know on screen to people. So if they see green, it means that the numbers that they chose were correct in the correct position. And if they see orange, it means the numbers that they guessed were correct, but in the wrong position. And if none of the numbers at all are correct, then the code hint feeds back to the player that, none of those numbers are correct. And so also as you go along, your guesses, you only have 10. So it's printing back to you how many guesses you have left, and that's highlighted in red. So just to kind of make it clear, compartmentalize it so the user can scroll up and down to sort of work out what numbers have I used, what numbers haven't I used, and you can see here then logically deducing, okay, between 1 and 10, what haven't I used yet, and what I have. I printed the guess back to the user as well, just to make it sit neater on top of the code hints so that the screen wasn't really messy. And I thought that kind of worked really well. And I was accepting, like, if the user pressed enter, or the user pressed the space bar after entering the 4 numbers, I use the strip method. So, it's not so annoying. It doesn't matter if you press the space bar too many times. Here I'm on 2 guesses and still haven't got it right yet. 2 greens, 2 oranges. So 2 in the right place, 2 in the wrong place. Just need to tweak them a bit. And I get it wrong at the end here. And then it comes up code not cracked. Just kind of a bit of fun there, and then gives you the option if you want to play again or not. If you don't want to play again, then sorry to see you go. But if you do, it clears the screen and starts the whole process back over again. So one kind of important thing I thought, to have in this was to the the handling the user's input, and to raise value errors as well, and to kind of explain to the user what they're doing wrong. So if they're putting in more than 4 numbers, the code's not going to accept it. So to actually go back and say to them, actually, it's only exactly 4 numbers. You're after putting 6 in there. Try again. If they enter cat or something else weird other than a number or a minus number, it'll come back and again try to tell you sort of what you've done wrong, so that it's not too annoying just by not accepting what you've put in there. Then came the fun part, the designing of it. So I broke this down into 2 parts, sort of logical and sort of planning the design of the game and how it flows, and then the aesthetics. So I found charts and diagrams. I'm really visual, so I found this really helped before I jumped in and started actually writing Python code. And I use lucid charts as well to do these. My flow chart was really helped an awful lot, because I had this game in my head and I had all these things that I wanted to do, but I just needed to get it out of my brain and put it down. And when I did that using a flow chart, it suddenly became really clear to me where I was starting, where I was finishing. I could see the control flow, where my statements were going to go, like, the if statements, the else statements. I could see my loops. I could see where I needed to validate my user's input and that. So once that flow chart, once I nailed that, I everything was just a lot clearer to me. So that really helped. And my brother put me onto these use case diagrams. I had never heard of them before, and it was fantastic. It really, really helped me. The little stick guy there, he was fun to kind of mess around with. And so what it's doing is it's sort of capturing the relationship between the player, like the user, and the actual game itself. And so I could kind of see what were the include relationships. So what was going to happen every time the user interacted, and then the extend relationships, what was going to happen some of the times, for example, if they entered something wrong or if they decided not to play again. So again, it just helped me break down sort of the design of the game, a bit more visually. The class diagrams, and I moved on to that. So this was me learning about the class systems in Python and trying to get my head around all of that. And once I did, I found the UML class diagrams really helpful, because it sort of helped me to see the relationship between the 2 classes and what each of those classes was going to do, or what I wanted them to do, and what methods then I was going to have to use to actually get it to do that. And it also helped me to put kind of nice, meaningful sort of names as well to the classes, so it was a lot easier to read, for other people looking down through the code, or for me looking back on it, like, what was I doing with that method again? So it made more sense. So once I had all that, I decided to dive straight into coding. And of course, the first thing I do is I want to see how do I make artwork on a command line interface. And so I was looking at the ASCII art, and I decided to use PyFiglet, and I also looked at Colorama as well. PyFiglet, I went with PyFiglet because I was looking at other people's ASCII art, and it was a lot of copying and pasting of, the backslashes and the stars and the dots, and people were kind of running into problems, going over the 80 character lines, and Python reading the backslash in the artwork as a backslash, and, lots of errors happening. PyFiglet just seemed so clean and so nice. I just imported it and went to figlet.org and just looked down through the library of fonts there and chose 2 that looked really nice. And then it was just a matter of creating the 2 variables. The first one was for the title, the second one was subtitle, and then just choosing the font in there and what I wanted, what words I wanted the font in. And actually it comes with a cool kind of justify command as well. So like you can justify or align left, right, or justify center. So, and then it's just a matter of printing that variable to the terminal, and it just prints that ASCII art very nicely. And it keeps the code kind of clean and neat, and not this big sort of ASCII art text pasted all over your code. Colorama then I thought was great to add a splash of color to things. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what the other one is called, how to add color into with Python. It involves numbers and that, and I found it was very unclear. So Colorama, actually you're using the words themselves of the colors. And if you put up in the top after your imports, the init with auto reset equals true, It just means that I found when you had one line printed in color, when you moved on to the next print statement, it reverted back. So you didn't have to keep resetting at the end of every print statement. Now, the only time that didn't turn out to be true is if I wanted just one specific word or letter, or like that with the guesses. I only wanted the number, that color. Then I had to do the 4-dot reset after. But otherwise, I thought I kept the code nice and readable. You could see actually what color you were using, and yeah, just kept it nice and neat as well. So here's some interesting code that sort of I use to help the game move along. The green code hint was a bit of a challenge, but I got there in the end. So this is going to find the correct number in the correct position. And when it does find it, then it's going to print back to the user the word green in the color green. And so pretty simple, just using the for loop and just going through the range and saying, look, if, in guess I, so if every, index in the guess is exactly equal to that index number in the code, then you're going to print the word green. But what I found happened was that every time it was looping through, it kept finding the same matches over and over again. So what I had to get it to do was, once it found the exact match, to replace those two numbers with something different, so that the next time it looped through, it wouldn't find that match again. So I just replaced, say, the code with a dash and the guess with a blank space. And so the next time it looped through, that was different. So it didn't keep repeating that match. So finally got there in the end. And then all I did then was use .append method and just appended in the word green to an empty list up the top. The orange then got even harder. So this time I wasn't looking for an exact match. I was looking for the right number, but not in the right, in the incorrect place. So I had to kind of make a little static method, this little decorator static method. And what that was going to do was, if, any of the secret code numbers are in the user's guess, return those numbers. And so what I did then was I used that method on, I made it like a little variable called match_position. And so as it's looping through, it's finding the code match position, and it's going to replace that with the dash. And then for that number in the guess, is going to replace that with a blank space. So once I figured that out, then just a simple .append method then to put the word orange into an empty orange list. So I had a list with the words green and green in them, and the list with the words orange and orange in them. And I thought, this is so simple. All I have to do now for the code hint is add the two lists together. But it wasn't so easy, because what I realized was that Colorama doesn't recognize lists. It only recognizes print statements. So what I had was two lists, which I wanted in color, but Colorama just did not recognize it. So once I knew what the problem was, I could then sort of home in my search on Google to find a solution. So I came across this guy in Stack Overflow actually chatting about this. And he said, what you need to do is iterate through each item in your list and turn it into a string. And then when you do that, then you just have to join them together. So that's what that big, lovely, long line of code there is. So the code hint is just the two lists printed together. But what it's doing is just iterating through each item of the list and turning it into a string. So then Colorama actually could read it as a color. So yeah, that took a while. That took a good few weeks to figure out, but I really enjoyed doing it. I think the steps I found that helped sort of keep the issues to a minimum and sort of help me solve things a lot faster was just kind of tidying as I go, like keeping to that PEP A, tidying up my lint and errors, like just making sure that anytime an error came up, I knew what it was and I knew how to solve it, and not let those errors sort of stack up till the end till another big problem came. Testing each kind of function, well, each method as it came along, and sort of being really sure that that worked and deploying it early and checking it, making sure it worked, so that when problems did happen, I could really, like a detective, sort of narrow down exactly where in the code that issue could be popping up from. So just found those really helpful to do. And I think as well, understanding what went wrong and understanding what the problem was helped me then really sort of, be able to Google faster or Google more efficiently what the answer could be. So there are all the things that really help me keep my sanity to complete my first project in Python. So for the game, I mean, I would really love to make it a 2-player, like the board game, and I think that could be easily done because how I've set up the class systems is that the computer is, you know, just using the random to generate a random list of numbers, but that could just be turned into player input, and we could get the second player to input those 4 random numbers there and then pass it back to the player to sort of crack the code. And that could be interesting because you could send that then to a few friends and see who cracks it the fastest or in the least amount of tries. You could add in like a scoreboard for that. So I think an easy way to do that would say be implement like a Google spreadsheet or the Google Sheets, and just sort of, yeah, to keep track and to store, you know, the attempts that each player has finally cracked the code in. I would like to maybe try and go back to the original board game and see if I could design that some way on the terminal. And I think maybe that could be done by using another class for the board design and being able to print that then to the terminal. But I think I would need a little bit more time kind of messing around with that idea, but I think it could be doable. So I'm really loving it. I had 2 weeks of learning Python and then about another 3 weeks to get that project done. And I was really thrilled, and it felt like such a great achievement. So I've just finished now learning Flask and Jinja and SQL Alchemy and unit testing and mocking and all these things I didn't know before I did this project. So yeah, I've got a lot more sort of experience and knowledge now under my belt since I've done that project, and I'm about to move on to Django. And so my next project for the course, we have to use Django as our framework. So yeah, I'm excited to keep going and keep learning, and yeah, see what the next project is going to turn out like. So thanks very much everyone for listening to me about my first project in Python, and I hope it helped people in some way.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. I was gonna you kind of answered all the questions I was gonna ask you. As in, let me. I was gonna say, like, you know, how long did it take you to make this project, and you know, why are you like what made you consider to go and pick up, like, port it? Are you porting this game to Django, or are you just gonna create something is completely different project in Django?
It's a completely different project in Django, yeah. So the brief is, yeah, about, you know, trying to get full CRUD functionality, so users can post things and comments and all that sort of stuff as you're trying to manage the database for that. So still trying to get my head around. I haven't picked it.
That's
An idea
amazing.
yet.
You managed to do it, and in 5 weeks you created a whole game.
From learning Python to creating, and you know, the laptop survived. I still have hair on my head. Yeah, I'm still sane, but loved it. Really
So
loved it, you
what
know.
kind of tools did you like? I suppose for anyone who's getting into Python, kind of what did you use as your editor? You know, did you
So we
use
had to use a GitHub, yeah, and then Gitpod, and then to deploy it to Heroku, the college gave us a template to use.
yeah.
So we had all the sort of the tools in there to be able to add a requirements.txt and then to be able to deploy it up to Heroku that way. So yeah, it came kind of nicely packaged, I suppose, for us then to that template to be able to
That's
just deploy up to
amazing.
Heroku fairly
Sounds
easily.
intense as well. Oh wow.
Yeah, it was
So it
fun.
went start to end, right from start to end. Well, thank you again. Well, I know Samira said I got an update from Samira, who was meant to speak before you. She said, sure, she's available to speak, but she hasn't joined us on Streamyard. Samira, yeah. She hasn't joined us here on StreamYard yet, so I can't add her. So I suppose, do we have any questions from people? Let's see the comments. Yeah, Rachel says, well done, Ciara. I actually shared your project the other day for a student on Code Institute who was trying to do something similar. Very helpful.
Nice. Thanks, Will. That's brilliant. That's really cool to hear.
Oh, and Ashling as well said, fair play, Ciara, looks fab. Getting around those challenges must have been melted the brain a bit. As I said, I was like 5 weeks. I was just like, I've never even heard of I piglet as well. I'm dying to try it out.
Oh,
You
it was
know,
a brilliant find. It was a
yeah,
brilliant find. Yeah, it was
yeah.
great. And it was, yeah, there was moments where, because I'm in this small little room, there was moments where, if the neighbors could hear me, I was probably shouting at the laptop a good bit, and but I did
What
it.
was
Yeah.
the hardest thing you found when creating this game? After you
I,
visualize it and trying to put it working, and apart from swearing at it, but what was the
yeah.
what was the thing that you really got stuck
I
on?
think it was the code hints. The code hints really, really challenged me. But I knew that going in picking this game, I knew those code hints. I knew the green code hint would be okay because that was just looking for that exact match. But I couldn't quite nail the orange code hint until I sort of looked around and figured out that I needed that little sort of static, that other little method then to sort of pass into it. So that's probably took the longest out of all of it to really get my head around how to do that. Um, but yeah, it was it was tough. I googled a lot.
Oh yeah,
I think
that's
I
what we
read
all did. Yeah.
everything
Mm.
everything on the internet that has to do with classes and static methods and class methods. I think I just learned as I went along, which was really cool. Yeah, it
And I
was
think that is
interesting.
a very important thing to say to folks in learning any language. It is okay to go and do a search and see how things work, and also asking, for help. You also can
Yeah,
search as well. There's no. They might come across a lot of wrong answers, but I think that's all part of the learning, isn't it? What to look out for when things aren't, are not right, and you find
definitely.
a
And I
better
think
solution.
the more I kind of understood what the problem was, the easier I found it was to get
Yeah.
the solution. So I think sometimes when things went wrong, I'd frantically start Googling, but I didn't even know what I was Googling because I didn't know what was going wrong. So I think, yeah, making sure that you understand when something's going wrong, what is it that's actually going wrong, helps to sort of figure out what the answer is
And with
a lot
regards
easier.
to Flask, like, would you suggest that for a beginner as well to
I
learn to create a
really
web app?
liked it. Yeah,
Mhm.
I really liked it, and with Code Institute, there's a few code along videos with it and stuff, and yeah, I found it getting my head around sort of the roots and things like that. So yeah, it took a while to sort of
Mhm.
I had that aha kind of moment every now and then. Oh, that's what that's doing. But yeah, I think it's a fun one to sort of mess
Mhm.
around with. And I haven't even started Django yet, so I can't compare it. But I like the Jinja as well, how you can kind of go straight into the HTML and just start looping around with Jinja, and then it's really
So
good.
you found it in the templating language. It is very nice. I like it as well. So will I be able to get you back to have a chat about how you found Django,
If
and
I if
basically
I
what you thought of
survive
that over
Django,
Flask, but both of them could be
yeah,
just as good as one another depending on what you're using it for.
yeah,
So we
true.
love to have you back to talk about Django
Oh,
when
thanks. If
But
I survive
yeah,
that, yeah.
you were able to create a Flask app and make a full game out of it in 5 weeks. I'm sure you will be able
Oh,
to get over the next hurdle, the next challenge.
yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. The whole thing is about
Yeah,
fun
definitely.
and
No, I'm
finding
looking
out.
forward to it. Yeah, I'm really looking
Fantastic.
forward to it. Oh,
Thank
thanks
you so
so much.
much. What I'll do now is we do have a book token this evening to raffle off, courtesy of Inscribe. I forgot to mention thank you to our sponsors, our community sponsors. Which I don't have listed in front of me. I normally have it on my slides. That's how unprepared I was. First off, I'm using StreamYard thanks to Coding Grace and Trusted Soda for introducing speakers for PyLadies. PyLadies, of course, because if it wasn't for PyLadies, we don't have PyLadies Dublin, and the Python Software Foundation for all its amazing, because it represents Python and just doing a lot of amazing things right now. So for people who don't know, if you're interested in participating in the raffle this evening, we're going to pull out names live. So while I wait for Samira to join us, what I'll do is we have one prize, which is a book token, which I don't know what kind of book yet because it's a book token. It's going to be a tech book. Just say yes on the YouTube live chat, and Michael or Lay or both will give me a list of names, and I will pop your names onto a name picker, and your names will be picked out live. So I'll give a few seconds for people who want to say yes now and to join in the live raffle to win a prize this evening. So unless people don't want to win a prize, or if you're the only one, you're the default winner. So better get your names in. It had nearly happened a few times. So give me a sec. I will share my screen with the name picker so people can see. I will have Ciara here to witness. I think everyone else is
I'll be
witnessing
the
anyway
witness.
on the internet. So okay, I'm gonna put down the first. So yeah, just names are coming in. That's great. So just waiting. I think that's near everyone. So I suppose I just need to try and copy these names, or Michael or Leigh can send a list to me. Let's give a few seconds. Okay. Okay, I need to fix up. So we have this. This is taking the usernames from shop. I think we have more coming along.
This name picker is great. I've never seen this.
It's very colorful. I've used it a lot.
Love it.
Let me see. Do we have any more? Diana. That was. I think that's Diana's the last one. I think that's everyone. I think Rachel, Ashling, Sarah, Int P at large. Boglarka, if hopefully I don't pronounce your name wrong. Sean, Greg Kotek, and Diana. So I'm just gonna pick one name. Again, thanks to Inscribe AI for sponsoring the raffle prize. So here we go. Go. Oh, congratulations, Sarah. I will, what you can do is drop an email to Dublin at PyLadies. So hold on, drop an email at Dublin at PyLadies. I'm just typing it now in chat for you. Claim. So I can send you information on how to claim the prize. Congratulations, Sarah. So for that, and thank you everyone who joined in the raffle. It's always a bit of fun pulling names, and I don't actually have to write code to, I could. It has happened before. I think in PyCon Ireland, Mick actually wrote a name picker, and there was a lot of people shouting saying it was a fix, but he was editing code live, removing, sponsor names, because we just grabbed names from the people who registered at the conference. So we just pulled everyone's names in there. And then so we had to remove names. It was like live and everything, but it was cool. It was just live coding, very transparent. So I still haven't seen Samira. So what I'll do is if people don't mind, if you don't have any questions, you might call it an early evening, and I'll try and rearrange a Samira to give a talk, because she hasn't got back to me. She just said she was interested in speaking this evening, and she never joined us on StreamYard yet. So what I'll do is I'll this video will be up on YouTube. I'll do a wee bit of editing. So but thank you, Ciara, for sharing your story.
Thank you.
And I hope you come back to us and tell us your journey in Python, especially what you think of Django. If you want to, it's when so the course you're on, when does that end?
It's ending in October, but I think that the Django project has to be submitted in July. So,
oh no, is it gonna just before or after the Django Girls workshop?
I was wondering, I saw that and I was like, I might wander along to that workshop and get some tips.
It's Monday, July. It's Monday, July 11th. If you're curious, the applications are open. It's completely free. You don't have to sign up to EuroPython to come along to Django Girls workshop, and it's completely free. So there you go. If it's before your assignment.
It's before. So I'm
so
laughing.
Come on, drop along to our workshop. We'll have a few Django coaches there, and you can mingle along as well and ask lots of questions. And same with everyone out there. Just check out Europython. There's, as I said, there's lots of different things on. So what I'll do again, thank you everyone for joining us this evening, and I'll rearrange with Samira to give a talk. But the big thing next month is PyLadies Dublin and Women in AI Ireland have a partnered event. So it may or may not be an in-person event. We're just still working on logistics, so that's why the meetup page hasn't been created. So bear with us while we just finalize on those details, and we will let everyone know. So with all today's announcements, I will post them after. I will tweet it out, but I will also post it at the through Eventbrite as the post event messages as well to people who RSVP'd. And I'll also post the talk up on dev.to. We have an account up there, so anyone who's blogging on the dev.to platform, do subscribe to us on PyLadies. But thank you again to everyone. It's been again, thank you, Ciara. It's been a brilliant presentation, and your very first time talking. It doesn't seem like you're the first time speaking at all.
Thanks a million. Thanks so much.
All right. And so I will say, I will turn all this off, and I will put my face back on screen. Bye, Ciara. And I would like to say thank you again to everyone this evening, and we will catch up with you next month. And yes, so but yeah, is there any announcements or anything like that? Let us know. Until next month. Bye.